call the benevolent beings of light, archangels, and ascended masters to guide and inspire us during this forum. Our forum's vision is to bring the understanding, tools, discipline, and support for those seeking to enter the straight and narrow path, the road less traveled, that will lead us along effectively and steadily through the ascension process. Integration of the human experience with our divine origin is moving us full circle to achieve our divine potential. So be it. Amen.
You cannot see your reflection in boiling water. Similarly, you cannot see the truth in a state of anger. When the waters calm, clarity comes. Remember this. It's disciplining yourself. So awaken to your higher self. This topic is so important. It's all about where we are right now. When the great master left the body, he promised us that he would send a comforter to us. It was said to his disciples because they were so afraid when he left, what were they going to do? How were they going to go forward? What would they lean on because he wouldn't be there anymore to answer their questions? The comforter is the Christ in you. The Christ in you. This wise, understanding part of you. The soul who is really who you are as a continuing forever being depends on the wisdom to be given to us, the personality that comes into a body so that we can move forward in grace. Without that little voice inside us, we would be as lost as the disciples were when he left. We need that steady voice. So when you pray, you're actually praying to that part of you, the God in you, so that you could get the answers. Your higher self, your inner voice will never lie to you or misguide you. If you just learn to go inside and be still and listen. I ask a question and I hear an answer. It isn't necessarily a voice of God or anything dramatic. Let's let all of that go. You'll get a feeling. You'll get a sense of knowing, inspiration that comes through you. And you'll say, you know what? That's a great idea. Let me try it. Awakening to your higher self means you start a new life of going inside and paying attention to what's going on there. Pay attention to what is said, what you feel. Connecting to your higher self will help you to feel deeply. When you pray, and you pray with all your heart, your eyes will fill with tears and they'll flow down you because the return flow of that love from your higher self is felt. The more that you open up to your feelings, the more that you're going to start to realize what's going on inside me. So looking at the list of what was covered in the video, the intuition, it's not really a starting point, but it's on the list. And what happens is you start to feel that you're getting the guidance. You don't know necessarily that it's from your higher self at the time, but it really is. You start to get that knowing and your intuition kicks in. You have a gut feeling. And if you follow it, or if you feel it deeply enough, it will help you with the release of whatever it is that's blocking you from moving forward. It will help you with every aspect of your life. You'll have this sense of knowing, even if you don't, let's say, watch the news or TV or anything, and somebody brings up a subject, you're going to actually say, oh my God, for some reason I know this. Because you're connected. And that's the most important thing you can do, is connect to the divine within you. Internal whispers. Like I said, without getting all the drama involved, there is an inner voice. So you'll say something and then you'll hear something in your head and you go, oh, that's just me talking. Well, sounds like you, but it's coming through you from your higher self. Listen to it. If it tells you, don't go out today, don't go out today, stay home. And you're saying, oh, but I wanted to go out and I wanted to get things. Follow your gut. It won't steer you wrong. If you're in the car and you're at an intersection and it turns green, but you get this feeling you should really look around you, follow it. It's your higher self protecting you, knowing what's going on every moment. If we don't follow our intuition and we follow the voice of everybody around you, it causes confusion. You start to lose a sense of yourself. You don't want that. It's a great moment. You know you're getting somewhere because now you're starting to hear and respond. It's all choice, to tell you the truth. Appearance of things happening, synchronicities. You all have this happen, right? Just everything just kind of clicks into place. Everything's working and you say, what a day I'm having. This is so cool. Everything I needed just was there for me. Everything I needed to get done just happened to get done. It's just remarkable. It is. It's a remarkable journey when we pay attention to how our life moves. If we find ourselves struggling, just stop what you're doing. Don't keep doing it, because obviously that's not what your higher self is saying would be beneficial for you at that time. We've got to stop fighting our life and go with it and let it flow, and let it guide us. It takes all the stress out of life. And believe me, today was one of those days. If I let it get to me, I wouldn't be smiling this evening. But I know better. I know better, even though I'm facing a lot of pressure. I know better than to react, because it will throw me out of my center. What I do is I resolve. I do everything I can to make it work out. First, I pray. First, I pray. Get yourself in alignment, ask for help, and you'll get it. Everything is determined by your attitude, whether you're willing to get the help or you think you can do it yourself. The second one is the painful path. The first one is the easy one. Which one will you choose? Reoccurring dreams. Even if they're not reoccurring, I'm sure all of you are having dreams. Some seem like nightmares. Some are so confusing. You can't figure out why you're seeing what you're seeing. Meeting people you don't even know and talking as if they knew you all the while. We're tapping into other inner plane experiences and adventures. And we're waking up in them and we witness them. Not all of them. Not all of them are like that. Some of them are just messages from your subconscious to bring you to understand something about yourself. If it's an animal that you see, look up the spiritual meaning of that animal. You would be quite amazed at the messages and how on the money they are most of the time. And if it doesn't seem like it, it's because it's going to happen. And it's bringing your attention to it and awareness so that when you do have the experience in real time, that you're prepared for it. There it is. The nonsensical thoughts made me laugh because sometimes our minds are just going off and you're saying to yourself, what is going on in here? My head is scrambling with all these thoughts and this is on my mind and that's on my mind. And then something from the long ago past shows up. And you say to yourself, why did I think of that person? Well, you thought of that person to bless them. If you have events where that just thoughts and crazy things, just let it come and go. Just let it fly. You don't have to pay attention to it, or you can. But it sometimes is a warning, sometimes it is preparation, sometimes it's just for the blessing. Changing of relationships is happening in a huge way right now. People are looking at people that are in their lives and they are literally saying, I have no idea who this person is and how they fit in my life anymore. It is a natural phenomena. All you need to do is remember to bless them. And those that are completely off, not even just the page with you, but completely out of the book with you, just gently go on your way. Anybody that's abusing you, you have to stand up for yourself. Find out what's going on in you that's causing this to happen. Remember, everything that happens in our life is a reflection of something we believe inside us. When we can change that, because it's bringing so many experiences that are unnerving, we can start to change our outer life. That's the work that Dolores talked about. That work is finding out who you are. A lot of people are so distracted trying to figure everybody outside of themselves out instead of realizing whatever I'm feeling and saying about them is what I am to see in me. What is it that they're showing me? Sometimes you're there witnessing yourself doing something very beautiful. And you know that you have not done that, but somebody's there showing you the grace and goodness that you bring to others. Our experiences bring us everywhere we need to go deep inside us. So changes in relationships, whether it's friends, family, partner, whatever it is, this is a time when we're waking up and really seeing what is going on around us. And it's a time to evaluate your part in it and their part in it. If you are on the same page with that person, then you can do something about it. But if you're not, choices have been made by the other partner, c'est la vie. Send lots of love. Never leave in anger. Always bless. Because you don't know the whole story. You don't know how much karma was involved. You don't know what you owed them or they owed you. So you do everything in love, but you do what you need to do. People who pass away and leave us is a very, very difficult time until we adjust ourselves to this new life. They never leave you. So always speak to them in your heart and keep that love alive and that relationship alive. Creativity. Creativity comes in many forms. It isn't just the artists or the musicians or the writers. It comes in many, many forms of how we affect the world by where we are, what we do, how we act, what we say to people, how we help, how we guide. It comes in many forms. It's very beautiful to allow yourself to be creative. Know where your talents lie and play with it. Let it come forward. Who could you have been in another lifetime that you even have this interest? And you might have mastered whatever it is. And now's the time for you to recognize that and say, you know what? I love to do this. Do it. Do it. Experience it again. Have fun with it. And this compelling desire to change, this is the most important on the list, if you ask me. If you don't desire change in your life, if you don't feel that you can improve it, change it, move it, then you won't. If you're afraid of what it would be like if my life isn't the way it was, you won't change. I encourage you to change, to allow yourself to express the new you that wakes up every morning. Allow yourself to be the totality of who you are. It isn't just someone going through the motions of life. It's someone engaged in life, engaged in helping others, engaged in doing something that is life affirming, bringing in the light every day is a wonderful humanitarian service. Don't ever think it's not. Praying for the glory of God to be upon everybody in your life and in the world is a great service. Be proud that you have a heart to do that. Whoever God has brought to you, your higher self, you may have contracts that are short-term, long-term, a moment in time. Take it seriously who you're with, for you know not why you're with them. Sometimes you're astounded at the conversation you'll have with a complete stranger, but their soul isn't a stranger to you. You know it well, and they know you. Eventually, you'll feel like you know everybody that comes before you. You'll get the feeling like, oh my God, it's like, I can't believe it. I feel like I know these people. If you are willing to change, to go inside and ask the hard questions, admit to yourself your limitations, really get serious about what you say you can't do and overcoming that. Because honestly, there's nothing you can't create. You are a creator, god or goddess. Our power is enormous. Right now, we're being trained to use it properly because we have proven that we were careless with our energy, as you see reflected out in the world. Don't feel bad. You did nothing wrong. You were just learning. Just like a child has to learn. We're children. That's why they call us the children of God. But now we're really not there anymore. We're ready to rumble. We're ready to use energy every day of our life in the purest way, in the most beautiful and life-affirming way. Life has been tough for a lot of us, but we learned a lot. It humbled us. It brought us to our knees. Sometimes we were forced to change. Sometimes we chose to change. Please make good choices. Don't prolong the pain. Don't. There's no need for it. Anything that's not working out in your life, you can fix this. You can fix it. I know that for sure because I speak. I speak from experience. There's nothing you can't do to make life better for yourself and others that are around you. Make it your life's journey. That's seeking God first. Seeking all the wisdom of God first. And then everything else falls into place. It's so magical. It's so blessed. And it can be yours. You just have to make the choice. So I'm going to stop now. It's a minute to 8 o'clock. And I would like to play a beautiful song for you next. And I thank you so much for listening. I'll be doing a summary after segment 2 and wrap everything up after the questions and answers. For those of you that are on YouTube watching this, you can come to the forum, go on the website, ourdivineorigin.com, and use the email to email me and ask to come to the forum. We meet every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And if you're interested in the Academy of Light project that we're doing, there is a page dedicated to that. So everybody, awakening to your higher self. The topic tonight is going to be the topic in your head, in your life from now on. And it's going to transform you into your potential. Please give it time. We all have busy lives. We're going places, we're doing things where people are working. It depends on your circumstance. But I'm telling you, the most important thing in your life right now is to develop a relationship with your higher self. Learn that when the inspiration comes, give it a try, start trusting it, ask questions inside rather than seeking it outside. If you don't get an answer or that you're blocking it because it would be too painful for you to hear it yourself, that's when you can ask outside yourself. If you feel that you just aren't getting it, like I didn't for many years back in the 80s, I was being guided. I would listen sometimes and I wouldn't listen other times. I learned that that is not the way. And I finally did learn to trust it, and I follow it, and I'm becoming it. And that's exactly the pattern that it is. Remember the stages that we were talking about, even of ascension, they will continue to go on and rotate times when you're in different places with your development of your interaction with your higher self and with the ascension itself. Nothing is just going in one direction, because we have to make sure we don't miss anything that is still within our layers that needs to be dealt with. That's how you become a master of any dimension. And we are in mastery school. We're in our graduate school right now, spiritually. I remember back in the 70s and 80s, people were saying, oh my God, this is kindergarten, and we're all just in kindergarten. And I said to myself, that's not what my guides told me. They told me this is graduate school. So I would say it, and they go, shut up. You don't know what you talk about. This is so easy. And I went, easy? And it's, if you're not awake and living your life consciously, yeah, it's easy. You don't even know what's going on around you. You're on automatic. Your ego is running the show. And that's a very big part of this. Taming the ego to serve you instead of run you. It's very, very important. When you hear yourself start tooting your own horn or bragging about something, you know you're in your ego. There must be a part of you that needs validation, let's say. And that's something we can take care of internally. We can take care of everything internally. We don't, and that's the good part. We don't have to wait for somebody to save us. We don't have to wait for somebody to fix us, because it's an inside job. It is. And it gives you that liberty. It gives you that sense of power, that I'm not stuck here waiting for others to fix me. And anyway, people don't fix you. They just add to the confusion and the drama. I don't like drama. I never did. I don't know what it is about me. I like order, and I like things orderly. So I remember my daughter talking to me once, and she said, Mommy, remember that birthday party we had at the house? Because normally I would take them ice skating, or they'd go to an amusement park for their birthdays and bring their friends. But this one year, I don't know what it was, but we didn't do it. So I had the kids marching from room to room where I set up games and stuff. And at the end of it, my daughter said, Ma, we don't have to be that orderly when we're doing a party, right? And I said, well, yeah, you're right. You're right. Afterwards, I realized that I had those little kids marching to my song instead of letting them just wreck the house and do what they do. But that's how I operate, and it has actually served me. I learned order from the disorder that I used to live in when I was young. In the household, it was very disorderly. Nothing was set in any kind of pattern that could feel safe. And that's why I developed that. So for all of our sake, take this wonderful journey inside. It's right there for you. You've done it before, so you know the path. You're being reminded by coming here and listening to this discourse and seeing the videos. It's become a very popular subject about ascension these days. It never was even a conversation back when I was young. And I don't mean a kid. I mean, in my teens and then in my 20s. And I started talking about it in my 30s. And it was still like, what the heck are you talking about? But now it's been downloaded. It's in mass consciousness, the collective consciousness, and everybody that's waking up is able to face it and recognize it. This is where it's at. Now, I mentioned to Gregory, I don't know if he heard me, but that girl had a download of a higher version of herself, just like I did when I had my car accident where I basically died. And I came back as a different person. And there was a teacher that Janet and I had gone to named Bella. And this woman and I had a mystical experience in between time during one of her classes. And I was actually downloading another body, another version of myself, and she was witnessing it. And we were talking to each other. Nobody heard us. Everything was just locked into place because we were in between time. So I'm telling you, there's so much more that we're going to discover about life that's actually happening, but we're not seeing it or recognizing it. This wonderful journey we're going on together, this ascension journey, is going to get so excited that all of you are going to start bringing stories of the magic that's going to happen in your life. And I know it's happening now. You're just not putting it into the context of that you could even talk about it this evening, about your interaction with your higher self. So we'll just keep doing this and keep listening and watching all of us come into ourselves fully and beautifully. God bless you. I really enjoyed being here this evening with you. I'm so happy to have old friends come back and be a part of this. We're having so many experiences together, some a little hairy, some amazing, but we did it together.
We are deeply grateful for this forum. We thank those in attendance for your attention, for your wonderful questions, future topic suggestions, and stories that touched our hearts and opened our minds to new possibilities. Our collective energy has filled this forum with light and love for each other. We're so grateful that each of us brings guides and angelic beings to the forum, raising the frequency ever higher. We are grateful for the assistance, inspiration, and guidance from the benevolent beings overseeing the forum. Know we are all deeply loved and richly blessed.
It's common for some people to be more perceptive than others to situations that seem to have no concrete explanation in our earthly plane. However, in a spiritual realm, they find their form and reason. This is precisely what happens with that sensation that can touch certain individuals, where they feel as if something deep within them provides the necessary guidance and advice to navigate their lives harmoniously and free from setbacks. Often this manifests as a kind of inner voice that seems to guide you on what you need, even giving you encouragement to continue and overcome the situations that arise. Like many other phenomena that intersect scientific knowledge and spirituality, when people become aware of this, they feel like they have lost mental balance and that something is not right with them. But the truth behind this is that things could be much better than you think, because that little guide is nothing more than your higher self. A part of you that connects you in an incredible way with the spiritual realms and the knowledge they emanate. Beyond consciousness, this part of your being is in a highly elevated state, receiving information necessary for your daily and spiritual development, and subtly ensuring that you have the tools needed to face any challenge. Many times when this topic is discussed, people tend to reject the idea of feeling this guidance from their higher self. But once they delve into it, it seems true that this voice is present in them. That's why, on this occasion, using the knowledge imparted by Dolores Cannon as a guide, a researcher and hypnotherapist who dedicated herself to exploring the human mind and its most complex aspects, we will venture into exploring some of the signs that provide evidence of this connection with our higher self. So pay close attention, because everything could be very evident to you, and you might be overlooking it due to lack of awareness. Number 1. The feeling that something is not right. At times, it seems as if our being reacts in an anticipatory manner to something that is beyond our knowledge and control, leading the person to experience a strange sensation, as if deep down and beyond consciousness, we ourselves know that something is not going as it should. Many people call this intuition, and it is inexplicable on many levels, but in the spiritual world, this could be signaling the knowledge that our higher self has about some event. But intuition doesn't only arise from our life experiences in our current incarnation. On much deeper levels, the soul of that individual and the memories it holds from past lives will also serve to guide the current journey. Dolores Cannon maintained that the human mind has a superior capacity to store memories of these experiences, along with much other information acquired during our journey on Earth, in this and other times. From this knowledge, it is possible to assert that this internal voice representing our higher self is, in reality, a channel through which we bring the knowledge and wisdom necessary for a smoother journey. This intuition can arise in various aspects of our current life, triggered by relationship situations, work, friends, or even family matters. There is no exact parameter to measure the things that can awaken our intuition. However, this is something that is there, and it will be awakened whenever needed, providing us with a bit of wisdom and guidance, with which we are better prepared to face every challenge along the way. From today, let us recognize how that internal voice turns out to be our higher self, seeking to help us along the path we tread, and from there, let's give greater value to internal dialogue. Number 2. Internal whispers. As we mentioned almost at the end of the previous point, the person often seems to hear a small voice within themselves, with which they can engage in dialogue if they set their minds to it. Sometimes it is very clear, depending on the person's ability to introspect, but other times it is just a soft murmur. At this point, we must remember that internal dialogue is one of the most effective ways in which a person can self-discover and identify those aspects of their being that need to be worked on for personal expansion. Additionally, as we have been explaining, from there we can connect with our higher self, thereby gaining the wisdom it possesses and wishes us to benefit from, making it easier to overcome the challenges that come our way. These challenges present a clear opportunity for growth and must be faced with the willingness to grow from them, pushing ourselves a little closer to what we desire. The more willing we are to listen to ourselves, that voice seems to become clearer, allowing us fuller access to the knowledge that our soul holds. We must understand that internal dialogue can be challenging for many, as we not only access knowledge, but also expose everything that needs to be eradicated or healed. Without interference from the ego, our internal dialogue can lead us to take action on past wounds or things we had simply wanted to keep buried. Dolores Cannon argued in her research that through immersion in our own being, we can initiate a healing process, in which wounds, even from past lives, are treated so that they no longer hinder the expansion of our being. As this author expresses, our being is composed of layers, and only through immersion in the deepest layers can we access that multidimensional wisdom, which is managed by our inner voice, which, in the midst of its work, never stops seeking to impart the necessary knowledge, even if that whisper is ignored in many cases. That's why we must learn to listen to ourselves and cultivate internal dialogue, because from there, our higher self will be even more present in our lives, guiding us with wisdom. Number 3. Appearance of synchronicities. The third aspect that strongly attracts attention and can give us clues about that connection with our higher self is undoubtedly synchronicities, a concept explored by Dolores Cannon in the midst of her research. According to this author, synchronicities are a kind of language that the universe uses to send signals to the individual, as if at a deeper level it understands them without them expressing themselves. These winks from the universe appear as a reminder of the energetic interaction of the person with the individual, and can be appreciated at different times and in various forms. Moreover, these synchronicities appear as a kind of validation that the universe gives to certain actions, thoughts, or determinations made by the person, in this case, guided by their higher self, affirming the path they have chosen to take. For many, these synchronicities may be seen as isolated events or mere coincidences. But for those who are knowledgeable and fully connected with their higher self and that inner guiding voice, these winks mean much more. And surely, if you are unfamiliar with the topic, you may wonder, what are synchronicities in essence? An example of the occurrence of this event is, for instance, a sale that crossed your path just when you decided to purchase something you needed for a long time, like shoes. Let's say you are a woman and you have had a pair of heels stored for a long time. You have been invited to a very important work meeting, so you take them out of the closet. However, upon seeing their condition and fearing they might deteriorate at the event, you choose to buy new ones that are also more comfortable for you. Have you ever thought about it? Just on the day you decide to invest in it, walking along the regular path you take, you come across a super offer at a shoe store. This is an example of synchronicity and how the universe seems to give you approval for certain ideas, thoughts, or actions that you undertake based on your intuition and a higher level of consciousness. It seems that when you make decisions guided by your inner voice and the intuition associated with the wisdom of your higher self, the universe encourages you to continue in that direction and provides you with precious details reflected in these friendly winks. Number 4. Recurrent dreams loaded with a message. We should understand the world of dreams as a special space, suitable for a person with a high level of spirituality to jump between elevated realms, obtaining knowledge and guidance that can be helpful to their being. Although this idea may make some people nervous, beyond fear, fascination should be generated because this reality affirms that we can go beyond the limits of the conventional and obtain valuable and useful knowledge for personal growth and even for topics of collective interest. The realm of dreams can show you truly fascinating things and may be loaded with messages directed to your being and its needs, somehow responding to the concerns that we consciously pose. But when it comes to the connection with our higher self, these dreams seem to become more frequent, and the way they are loaded with symbolism becomes more evident, no longer being disguised information, but becoming references that can be deciphered with simple logic. Not only that, but there are people who claim to have the same dream over and over, giving them the opportunity to go a little deeper each time into the message intended for that soul in a state of consciousness. This seems to be another example of how we connect and communicate with our higher self and the wisdom it provides from various elements. These encrypted messages become the reality of your hours of rest. Although some may want to interpret dreams as reflections of current experiences, trying to find the reason they are closely tied to our realities and concerns from there. But the truth is that these recurring dreams with a deeper encrypted meaning than what meets the eye are taken as another sign that we are connected to our higher self, while it seeks to impart new knowledge useful for our life journey. This is undoubtedly important when it comes to the signals from our higher self, because it could be more present in your being than you think. Number 5. Nonsensical thoughts that don't seem logical. Although this may seem like the onset of madness or an untreated attention deficit condition, the truth is that the meaning of thoughts can go far beyond the barriers of the physical, rising to a more spiritual level. These thoughts may not seem to fit within the realm of logic, and appear as if they are pulled from a bucket of irrational thoughts and ideas unrelated to the present moment. However, The way these thoughts end up connecting to unconventional solutions to the issues at hand is intriguing. If we could be more patient and truly dedicate ourselves, we might see how, fundamentally, these thoughts do carry a message and even a solution to the issues we are dealing with. This makes them appear as encrypted messages about solutions to the matters at hand. Our thinking doesn't always have to be logical or square, and the way the human mind can let itself soar to imagine the most fantastic things leaves many in awe. Part of this becomes evident when suddenly these illogical thoughts reach our being, which may seem absurd but end up representing at times examples of how our being can find solutions to difficulties beyond the ordinary. These ideas, more than a touch of madness, show us that creative spark that we often suppress or have no interest in letting soar. Besides being a manifestation of imagination, it can also be loaded with wisdom and tools to solve specific issues. Sometimes, it's not bad to let the imagination soar and prepare our minds to present another perspective on the situations we face. Approaching challenges from a different angle may help find better ways to address them. Allowing the mind to wander and propose unconventional possibilities shouldn't be considered a sign of madness. Instead, it should be recognized as a high level of creativity, adaptability, and intelligence. In many aspects, these types of thoughts are associated with our higher self, the knowledge it seeks to convey, and the tools it provides to navigate our journey. Number 6. Ignoring current physical discomforts. Perhaps at this point, you pause and wonder, what do my discomforts and ailments have to do with my connection with my higher self? The answer to this lies in the way our body becomes a projection of our internal state. Similar to our reality, our physical body has the ability to show and manifest our current internal state. Therefore, the symptoms it exhibits are ultimately associated with traumas, ideas, anxieties, and other energies stored within us. Our inner state is so crucial to our being that things like the feeling of being silenced can end up causing our physical body to experience issues at the level of the throat, mouth, and tongue. Others believe that unresolved childhood traumas, depending on the type of aspect involved, can eventually lead to strong muscular and skeletal discomfort. In addition to the examples mentioned, there are numerous internal energies associated with physical discomfort. Some experts have even ventured to speak of cancer as a consequence of serious unresolved internal issues, emphasizing the crucial role of paying attention to our inner selves in our lives. As if fully aware of this, some individuals often choose, sometimes unconsciously, to set aside physical discomforts and focus on more spiritual matters, a mechanism of healing, according to many. From a superficial perspective, a person can provide many explanations for making this decision, but wise individuals attribute it to intuition that guides us from the deepest and unconscious part of our being, our higher self guiding us. It's essential to note that by doing so, a person contributes not only to their health, but also to their spiritual awakening and the expansion of their being, significantly aiding in a substantial leap in consciousness. Number 7. The person begins to experience a sense of disconnection. This might be a cause for concern for many, as much has been said about mental illnesses and depressive conditions, where a person, even when physically present, seems detached from everything around them. However, it's important to distinguish between this and a state in which the soul is preparing for a significant personal transformation, the latter being the focus of this point. Many times, individuals may feel that their surroundings no longer resonate with them. This can happen with an environment, a group of people, or even with oneself. Let's go step by step to understand it. This feeling of disconnection is described by people as a period in which they realize that the essence of what surrounds them or represents them as individuals is not what truly fulfills them. But this doesn't mean that the person is heading towards depression, as thoughts of pessimism are not present. Instead, there are thoughts of expansion and transformation. According to each individual's process, our interests can change, So in the pursuit of our evolution, we seek to align ourselves more with what we now consider beneficial for our being. Asking that a person remains the same is complete madness, because in the midst of our journey, we acquire wisdom, experiences, and new knowledge that allow us to refine and expand. Understanding this, it's not surprising that the need for evolution arises, one that manifests at a precise and perfect moment for each person, and is preceded by a sense of being detached from what is left behind or what is now going to be approached in a different way. Let's keep in mind that our higher self is guiding us through changes that aid in our internal growth and consequently the refinement of our being and soul. Thus, its guidance can lead us to this point where we seem to disconnect, only to later resume our journey from a different perspective, in different spaces, surroundings, and even with a different attitude. Number 8. A change in the way we present and carry our relationships. Before delving into this point, it's important to emphasize that the concept of a relationship doesn't need to be confined to a romantic context. The term relationship encompasses family ties, friendships, work connections, and more, so here it is described in a general sense that can be applied to many levels. With this clarified, we must understand that the way we relate to other people speaks volumes about us, what resides within our being, and how we manage ourselves internally. It is evident that nobody can give what they do not possess, so it is impossible for a person who is internally unbalanced to provide a healthy relationship in which both parties maintain respect and reciprocity. This is a phenomenon that has been extensively studied, especially by psychologists seeking to provide a clearer understanding of the complex human mind and how it reacts to various situations, such as past traumas, childhood wounds, or misguided perceptions. The wounds a person carries can be so profound that they end up affecting other aspects of that individual's life, one of which lies in their relationships and how they interact with others. From friendships to a romantic commitment, all these relationships can be a reflection of the wounds that a person silently carries, requiring careful observation to detect flaws and problems. But this is not only a psychological matter. Metaphysics also seeks to explain how internal aspects can significantly influence how an individual relates to others. According to the insights revealed in Dolores Cannon's research, the energies stored deep within a being can dictate the kinds of relationships they will have in their life. Cannon also points out that the mind is highly complex and composed of layers, which are not impossible to traverse, but each one reveals more information about what manifests in this individual's life. Part of this connection with our higher self will almost obligatorily lead us to look within ourselves and reveal what we have consciously or unconsciously tried to set aside. Confronting this compels us to heal, eradicate those feelings, and cleanse our being, from which our being heals, expands, and improves, with implications for our reality. Not only will material aspects be modified within us, but also our way of relating will change in proportion to our own transformation. The deeper the changes experienced by our being, the more drastic the contrast will be between past relationships and those we have now. The relationships we retain will be healed and modified to the point of appearing entirely new. This is undoubtedly a positive and quite noticeable aspect for both others and ourselves. It indicates that the connection with our higher self is stronger and more present than ever, signaling that we are allowing ourselves to be guided by the wisdom that this part of our being brings to a conscious level. To conclude this point, let's not forget that relationships that do not evolve alongside the individual will become obsolete. They will no longer resonate with the person and will eventually be discarded. Number 9. The person will experience bursts of creativity. A little earlier we talked about creativity and how it is considered a positive factor at a spiritual level. However, I must pose the question again. Is creativity a spiritual quality? According to Dolores Cannon, this quality is seen as a spiritual sign. Beyond imagination, the insights and wisdom embedded in a burst of creativity can originate from much higher energies, accessible only from a higher level of consciousness. Therefore, guided and supported by the research of this illustrious woman, we can mention moments of heightened creative activity as a sign of connection with our higher self. If we analyze our environment and the people we know, we realize that not all individuals possess the same degree of creativity, which can be associated with different levels of spirituality and connection with the profound waters of wisdom. Hard work on ourselves can lead us not only to the expansion of our being, but also to the possibility of accessing a higher level of creativity. This is because our being allows itself to have a series of thoughts that are not as logical, square, or structured, and do not follow conventional rules or patterns. But this is not something negative, as even when devising absurd scenarios, the human mind can find a point in them that connects what has been created with a possible solution to what it faces. From these thoughts, our being may also enter a deep reflective state about the reality it faces, even raising many questions about the current way of life, leading to improvements or advancements. The possibilities of what can be achieved in the midst of unstructured thinking seem endless, and in its own way, all of this is very positive. There is nothing that is not beneficial when it comes to externalizing a drastic internal change, in this case, guided by our higher self. Over time, it has even been observed how, in the midst of these bursts of creativity, the spark that gives rise to new inventions and improvements for humanity is often found. Many great inventions arise from a moment of creativity where, allowing the mind to go beyond the conventional, it stumbles upon a feasible idea that solves a need. It's not wrong to have these sudden bursts. In fact, they are good indicators, and allowing them is not a crime or a waste of time. I encourage you to let your mind soar as high as it desires. Don't forget that this manifestation of your connection with your higher self is quite precious, and it's a privilege that few have access to. So feel privileged and enjoy the fruits of cultivating internal dialogue and a connection with wisdom. Your creativity can also be seen as a connection with the universe, with its energies and the wisdom that is stored within it, so give it the appropriate value and don't limit it to being seen as a moment when inspiration has struck you, because there is much more behind those instances. Number 10. The person feels a great and compelling desire for change. You might think that there are many factors that can make a person feel the desire to change aspects of their life, but indeed, this desire is associated with that connection we have with our higher self. Let's rewind a bit to remember that one of the main functions of that bond is to provide you with guidance so that our conscious side absorbs knowledge and works on aspects of our being that keep us anchored or stuck in our processes. As if it were an instruction manual being read by our soul within our being, this connection is magical and transformative, and as it is cultivated, it brings many challenges as well as many benefits. But none of this is possible without changes occurring within us, because just listening to that intuition that guides us is not enough.
The best prayer to attract wealth begins when you understand that the strongest energy in the universe is not thought, meditation.
That same voice will encourage us to examine many aspects of ourselves and get to know ourselves better. The way our higher self frees us from the ego to let us see ourselves honestly, in the deepest sense, leaves many speechless, revealing aspects that were even strange to our conscious part. What we have tried to sweep under the rug, what we have wanted to ignore, everything will come to light if we let ourselves be guided by our higher self in this journey of healing and growth. Although it may sound unbelievable, there are many people who fear themselves, and the mere idea of looking within causes them discomfort. These individuals undoubtedly hinder the strengthening of the connection with their higher selves, thus remaining anchored to their current state. On the other hand, those who embark on the journey of self-discovery and alignment with wisdom enjoy great rewards, which lie behind healing and internal change. These changes may be seen as desires to modify aspects that were perhaps deeply ingrained in the personality of that individual. It should not be viewed as a rejection of oneself, and what one represents, but as a desire to leave behind anything that no longer serves them on their journey or aligns with their level of consciousness. Any practice, idea, belief, or routine that is no longer useful for the person will be detected from this new level of consciousness, and consequently will be eliminated in a drastic manner on many occasions. The intensity with which this need for change is experienced may make it seem impulsive to some, but it is, in reality, an intense remodeling to expand our being. We should perceive changes as something positive in any form and establish that every internal change will subsequently translate into an external change as one goes hand in hand with the other. When we feel this, we are witnessing our readiness for improvement and growth. Even if it ends up discomforting some people in your surroundings, you must keep that expansion of your inner self as your guiding principle. Dolores Cannon has described this desire for change as an enhancer of the task we face to become our true selves, the authentic version of our being that the ego has transformed into what it currently is. As if it were our soul speaking and asking to return to its true form and expression, this desire for change seems to address deeper wishes and needs than most people realize. This leads some to wonder, how can I aid this process of transformation and improvement guided by my higher self? And of course, there are ways to do so. This process can benefit from practices such as meditation, keeping a journal with our thoughts, ideas and emotions reflecting what we do not want to forget each day. Yoga and even moderate exercise contribute to alleviating the feeling of being overwhelmed on the journey. If you struggle to manage bursts of creativity, painting and free writing can be your allies. However, the ultimate recommendation is not to let this connection with your higher self fade, but to encourage it. Let's cultivate internal dialogue and embrace each new knowledge the universe brings us, enjoying those signs of approval it gives us in this process. I know that more than one person is going through all of this now, and probably didn't understand the origin of these situations or the signals the environment was giving them. That's why I've taken on the task of sharing all this with you. And if you enjoyed our conversation here, feel free to give this video a like. Remember, you can visit the comments section and let us know what other topics you would like us to discuss. I'll read every opinion, and together we'll determine the direction of our next journey into knowledge. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and activate notifications to receive exclusive content. We'll meet again in this space to tackle a new topic. Until then, I send you many blessings and light.
Slow down. Take a deep breath. Remember who you are. Right now. All you can do is to keep walking through. When your heart is feeling heavy and your mind is full of worry, don't forget you've made it this far. You never know what's on its way to you. Never know what's around the corner. The good and bad, times and the best have brought you right to this moment. Every chance and every fall has shaped you into who you are. Who you are. So don't worry, just look around. Good things will come wherever you're going. You'll know come